Well, hello, folks. Welcome back, sports fans. We are now entering the 2026 college football season. It is arrived this week. Well, it feels like it never ended, though, JT. But how are you doing tonight, JT?
I am doing well. I am doing well. And
Yeah,
yourself?
not too bad. We've had a little break on Tuesday nights for a
We
bit
have.
during the dry part of summer, which is like, dude, even the UFL had no attraction. Forget Major League Baseball and
Talking
everything else.
about dry, we've had a less than an inch of rain the last month.
Oh man, we're getting rain all the time here, which is what we need to help cool things down and a lot of other stuff. So hey, but so at least it's not the snowy time of year. That's good.
Uh, yeah. Yeah. I'd take that. I'd take that.
Yeah, exactly. Let me see some. I'm checking us over on the YouTube side. I don't know what this. Let's see if we're live. I think my screen like froze up 14
We're
minutes. There
live.
we go. We are like yeah. Well, it was funny. My YouTube screen I have running in the background it was like it said 14 minutes from now, and I'm just like whatever, and zero watching. But hey, you know what? We don't have people. We don't have zero now. We got the great Kremlin. Kremlin.
Hell,
Oh,
Kremlin.
here to slow down JT.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Kremlin, I have not even talked to JT yet about where his beloved Michigan State Sparties are projected
Oh,
to
we
hit.
we definitely will get into that. I've got a Big Ten rundown if you want.
Oh yeah, we can do it. I'll let you handle that one. But I got one that's got all the conferences this year. Speaking about a man of mystery, dude, this guy for his age knows everything about everything from old to new to everything else, and he's got his hand on the heartbeat of college football all across the country. It's a great Buddy Hepburn. Buddy, how are you tonight? Good to
Hell,
see you.
buddy, sir.
Yeah, but hey, we got a JT. It's been an interesting day so far. I mean, we're going to start with some breaking news. Which is, oh god, Kremlin Sparty. How so? How do you know? What do you want to say about Kremlin? I mean, he's really familiar with you, obviously.
Oh, yeah. No, he and I DM each other on the various social medias. So he's giving me a hard time. He's giving me a hard time. But it'll come back to him. He better watch out. I'm not saying that's a threat. I'm just saying you never know what's cooking.
Yeah. Yep. I you never know. What goes around comes around, and everything else. And the great Jess is here. Jess, hello. How are you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Speaking of getting around, a mod of all mods that actually can work and do this at the same time. But hey, good to see it. Oh gosh, Grandma said need some Pepsi. Burr. All right. When West K girls cheering for Kremlin, Kremlin.
Oh boy.
And the West.
Buddy is Admiral Teague's like lead wrench, chief
Oh
of
really?
wrenching.
Yeah, I know he
Yeah,
does a lot
and
of it. Yeah.
Kremlin's on the panel, and he even has his own one of those little emojis.
Ah,
So I think he has one on Mark and Admiral Teague's.
well, that's
So
cool. Well, you know who
yeah.
has one on mine that has the emoji of all emojis? It's the great Mrs. Dadman walking. Hello, sweetheart. How are you tonight? Great to see you. Well, folks, we this was going to be more of a preview show to kind of explain what the last, I guess, last year we did a combined show. So the 2 years before it, when I started the channel, was an SEC focused preview show, projections and all this of how the teams would end up in the conference, predicting finishes. Last year, JT and I did it, expanded to the Big Ten along with the SEC, and what we learned was pretty much in the last year, none of the shit matters. We don't know till the games start because as this season has proven more than ever with the transfer portal and NIL, it's worse than the wild, wild west out there now, JT. You can't check. You can't track your team, your players, unless you're Kansas, Rock Chalk Jayhawk. Yay. But it's been we talked about this, how we wanted to do this preview show. And we're like, why? And we're about to get a news story that even breaking news tonight. But JT, what do you think with the wildness of what's happened and how it's changing college sports?
Well, I think when you get to the point where you know you're going to be starting games in the next week, and you don't even know what your roster should look like, you've got a problem with your sport.
Yep, exactly.
And I'm not talking like it's because maybe you've picked this beast out of like Germany or something, or you found some guy in, southwest, the Pacific Islands somewhere, and like the government's slow on their student visa or something like that. No. This is where you literally don't know if you can have professionals back on your college teams and how many transfers are coming off the transfer portal.
Yep. It's been tough enough with the transfer portal over the years now with the NIL. Basically, it's all 1 year contracts almost, because we saw in the offseason that Duke had a quarterback under contract for another year, but Miami, the Hurricanes, come in and swept him off, even though they had a contract. Duke threatened to sue, but they backed off. The contracts don't mean the same as like they do in the NFL without collective bargaining. And my God, that's what I told everybody for years. Hey, don't just judge it as a sports show, and boring foosball and all. But it's like it's become a full-time legal business nowadays in the last couple of years, and the rules are always changing. So, speaking of that, let's say hi to the chat real quick, and then we will kind of tell you what we're kind of referencing right there. But it's Kremlin here, Buddy here. Okay, I did say hi to the chat. Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
we all did.
But still,
you said hi to Jess, right?
And Mrs. walked in, and I lost my mind. So anyway, but hey.
Well, hey, that's good. That's good that you can say that after all this time.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, listen, here we go with tonight. We've even gotten more breaking news. What has happened in recent days is that some players from the NFL have been released from the NFL rosters. And
normal
talk is right, and talk is that they may re-sign with college teams. Well, what it centers in from a class of 2022, when the players that year, the NCAA only 23 and after get 5 years, before 22 get 5 years, while the people in 22 only got 4 years, and that's where they stuck with it. So now there have been several different conflicting court cases around the country. The most recent one is allowing the talk with the NFL players now that are released, that signed a contract, were drafted, released from their rosters, that were part of the class of 2022 out of high school, can now theoretically re-sign back to another college, which is new. Well, with the hypocrisy of it is the Florida Gators have a basketball player who never went in the NBA draft or anything, who was one day cleared to play this year, but then next day he can't play. Yet we see this with the football players. Let's go ahead and talk about the story. We're going to go here from USA Today, where the SEC bans NFL players, NBA and WNBA players. Let's not even get started on the WNBA tonight. That's been another train wreck this week.
Folks, if you haven't listened to us, or you haven't listened to us in a while, the last couple of years, I've been kind of anti-fan following Angel Reese. I've built an entire brick mansion with all the bricks that we've seen her make during her illustrious so career, right?
Yeah.
And now people have taken to making a lot of AI videos of her, which, I giggle and watch every one.
Apparently, she just set a single game record for most rebounds in a game.
Oh, her own shots,
exactly.
probably.
That's the whole joke. But oh gosh, and we won't even get any further because there's other political aspects that just happened this week. So we're going to focus on the return of college football this week. Well,
Southeast. That WNBA topic,
Well.
You would never win. You would never win. We'll leave it that way. But neither does the WNBA.
Nope. All right. Well, listen. Well, the Southeastern Conference has joined the Big Ten Conference in taking action to prevent NFL players and other professional athletes from returning to college athletics and competing for member institutions. This is according to usatoday.com. The SEC announced the conference's policy Tuesday evening following a meeting of the conference's presidents, chancellors, and athletic directors, part of their already scheduled two-day meeting in Birmingham, Alabama. The policy, which also applies to men's and women's basketball, prohibits an athlete from playing for an SEC member program if they previously declared for the NFL, NBA, or WNBA drafts and did not withdraw from them, signed a professional contract, or had been listed on a professional roster. The SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey has been given the authority to enforce the measures of the policy with penalties against member institutions, the conference said. Sharing this from a tweet out from the Southeastern Conference. Basically, the SEC issued a statement clarifying each of those points that were made in the article. What has triggered this is really a lot of expected moves, generally centering around LSU, is where a lot of the scuttlebutt with the coach down there and players that are projected that. The rumor is that we'll be signing contracts to go back to attend LSU after their releases from NFL rosters. One of the other players, JT, I always wonder about Diego Pavia from Vanderbilt. You know, he, I believe, is in this class too. So, go ahead.
Lane Kiffin had two of his former players, if I remember right.
Well, we're going to talk about that right here.
Sure.
USA Today goes further. The SEC policy comes in the wake of LSU's reportedly expected additions of tight end Daquan Wright and defensive lineman Xavier Harris, both who played for now Tigers coach Lane Kiffin at Mississippi last season before signing NFL contracts. Both players were granted a temporary restraining order against the NCAA by a Louisiana judge to receive a fifth year of eligibility after the NCAA changed its eligibility rules to an age-based model. Now, one of the things that was, I believe it was Harris that actually criticized Lane Kiffin very extensively last year for leaving the team and taking a job elsewhere. And then look what's happened. Basically, he's one of the ones that, look where we're going to go now. Kiffin has, I was going to find another article on that in a minute, but Kiffin has talked about this whole situation. Also, the article, what it talks about, this age-based model would give players 5 years in college, except for the class of 2022. And I've heard some people on podcasts on YouTube talking about that's where the NCAA has opened the door, because they didn't just they could have avoided a lot of this if they just said everybody gets 5 years. But for the class of 2022, they drew this line. But 20 and 21, the vid rules and stuff, they granted extra time, 5 years. And then after that, they've gone to an age-based 5-year model. But so there is a lot more to this issue than just, professional players come back. Because it's specific to this one group of players. Both players were waived by the Cleveland Browns and New Orleans Saints, respectively, sparking their attempts to resume their college careers. Tuesday's policy announcement from the SEC also comes less than 24 hours after the conference presidents and chancellors released a statement voicing their opposition to former student athletes returning to college ranks after competing professionally. College athletes, the quote is, college athletes, not former professional athletes, have been at the heart of the Southeastern Conference. Individuals who choose to leave college athletics, sign professional playing contracts, and compete professionally should not then be permitted to return to college competition, the statement read. Allowing that to occur will blur the line between college and professional sports, create significant competitive equity concerns, and reduce opportunities for high school and current college athletes. In this article, the ACC declined to comment on the matter in an email to USA Today. Similar requests to the Big Ten and Big 12 were not immediately returned, though the Big Ten announced its rule forbidding NFL players from returning to college and suiting up for a member school earlier Tuesday afternoon. And JT, I know you had more on that. So basically, in that case, the Big Ten was the first one to ban it, I believe, right? And I got JT as I saw it. But it's it opens the door for a lot more lawsuits. Just what college athletic needs is more lawsuits, more litigation. With earlier, ESPN.com had an article about the Big Ten earlier today, this morning, passing a rule to stopping players from returning from the NFL for playing for one of its schools. Uh, ESPN.com goes further to say any player for the Big Ten who has declared for the NFL draft and did not withdraw, appeared on a NFL roster, or signed a contract with a pro league cannot be on a Big Ten roster, the league announced in a statement. The Big Ten's athletic directors unanimously approved the rule, which then received unanimous approval later Tuesday from the conference's faculty athletic representatives, sources told ESPN's Pete Thamel. Any teams in violation of the rule would be subject to its head coach being suspended for 50% of its remaining games, plus an undisclosed fine, the Big Ten confirmed. So that was a lot better. That was more detail about it than what I've seen from the SEC. JT, what about the Big Ten? Because I just was touching on that, and I know that you had more comments on specifically on the Big Ten. You're more up in that area, and that's interesting to hear that the penalty is 50% of the remaining games plus an undisclosed fine. I mean, what do you think?
Well, the fine or the punishment, I mean, it should just be banned outright. Did you talk about the Ohio State head coach in his statements?
Not yet.
I had to step away for just a moment.
Not yet. Yeah, not yet, but go ahead.
Yeah, so the Ohio State head coach said, I hate this. I hate, basically paraphrasing it. I hate everything about it. And said, but I have to do what's best for the university. So if no one's going to take action, then we'll have to take action. And the week before our season's supposed to start, this late, and when we're playing these kind of games this late, this is terrible for the sport and all this. So again, not his direct statements, but just coming out of it, this was not a popular move at all. And I think it was understood across the industry that you just don't do this. There are clear rules for this. The other thing is, it's not just about getting somebody with one more year. It's one more year, but it's 5 years past your incoming freshman. And like it or not, what you are at 18 and what you are at like 22, 23 sometimes, you're a much more grown up person. And you're talking about getting players hurt. And football's already a dangerous enough sport. So there's a lot of angles to say this was just not a smart idea.
Well, let's be honest with it. A lot of it centers around LSU. And Aqib Talib, dorm mates between him and Mario Chalmers. Well, those are some old names. That's old school. Well, what's interesting is this is how much breaking it is. Because even within the last 2 hours, the Sun Belt Conference became the third league to ban this practice. Well, where this has really started is there's breaking news on all this because it centers around LSU and Lane Kiffin. ESPN.com yesterday had an article about titled "LSU's Lane Kiffin Defends Pursuit of NFL Players Returning to College." And he in this article, in the press conference, he said, at the end of the day, because of these rulings, they're either going to play for you or they're going to play for someone else around the country. So we've made the decision to recruit them like probably most people are. And what they're talking about is a lot of these different potentially conflicting court rulings and injunctions. I mean, you go to one judge in Louisiana, you get an injunction. You go to Colorado, you get a different injunction, a different ruling by the whatever court. Frankly, I see this possibly requiring, if the Supreme Court, U.S. Supreme Court, would take something, they're going to have to jump in to kind of settle all this down. Normally courts don't like doing that, but when you got so many different injunctions and conflicting injunctions, ultimately the court is only body that can do something.
I don't think they're going to take action on something like this. I don't think there's enough case law for them to really set a good precedent, and they all know that. And so you're going to have to go apply law that's not close to this situation, and you're going to get the worst for everyone when that happens, if they do. So I'm glad that the SEC and the Big Ten made these decisions. I think it'll be easy for everyone else to follow suit after that, because these are really the two relevant conferences anyway. Yeah. And I personally want to know why Lane Kiffin thought that this was going to work.
Well, the article, he's further quoted. The article goes on to talk about Wright Harris and another player were among 16 college football players who were granted a temporary restraining order last week in a Louisiana court that permitted them to return to school for a fifth year of eligibility and enter the NCAA transfer portal to explore their options. Wright and his fellow plaintiffs played 4 college seasons and went pro under the belief they had exhausted their eligibility. The NCAA adopted a new age-based model in June that grants athletes up to 5 years of eligibility within 5 years. But the new rules did not cover players who began their careers in 2022-2023. Kiffin, quote, "In my opinion, knowing the information, I think it's really wrong to be critical of these kids. They were granted a fifth year by a judge saying that they were wrong by the NCAA and they should have had the fifth year all along, like all the kids moving forward will have a fifth year." So he does say further in the article, in general, should NFL players come back to college? I believe it doesn't matter necessarily what I believe. That answer would be no. I think every circumstance should be looked at differently. So basically what you got is like, it's very specific towards that 22-23 class, the players that they really do not have NFL experience per se, but they didn't make the rosters. And hey, Corey, we're breaking news about the world of college football. We're back into college football. Good to see you again, Corey. And there's Chewy. Hey, this is Mr. LSU down there. I'm really interested to see what you have to say tonight about the ongoing. It's a madhouse, the chaos with what this is, and it just. College football, the big thing is what we've seen, and this is really proving with this new world of college football. It's not what it used to be. It is completely haywire and changing drastically by the hour,
It is indeed. And, what are you as a fan supposed to do to look forward to this season? Because part of August coming around, part of even spring ball was saying, oh, here's our team. Let me start getting ready for it. You have a lot of your class graduate every year. You're going to have at least a 25% new team, right? So you try to learn all the new players, who's at the new positions, what you think the coaches are going to do, how they pick between the 3 quarterbacks that they have, all this different type of stuff that helps you get into your college team. Now, well, hell, why bother? Because it's coming up on a week out from the sport starting, and you don't even know who potentially is on the roster. Not the starting roster. No, just any of them.
Right. Exactly.
So, at that point, who cares? Who do you want to even bother following? I looked at, the starting for Ohio State, because they're at the top of the Big Ten ranking, and they're actually at the top of all the rankings. And, they're returning, I think, their quarterback, their star receiver, and their running back. But they also have on their starting lineup, I think it was somewhere between 8 and 10, depending on what day of the week you found some of the news articles, 8 to 10 transfers.
Wow. Yeah.
So what team even is this?
Yeah. Well, Buddy says the only reason we would say yes for NFL players returning is due to the NCAA Division I being a professional football league also. Yeah, that's what it's getting to. And Chewy, I'm ready. I think we'll look at the 8 games that are set up for this week. North Carolina, TCU. That's probably the Ireland game this year. But yeah, hey, I'll watch any football this week that I can. Although, really, we'll take a look at it in the networks where the games are. It's pretty much done by 3:30. There are a few night games. Oh my gosh! Wait till I pick on a team specifically. So, uh, yeah, exactly. If they can't cut the NFL, they should go to the UFL, not back to college. Exactly. And well, you have to wait for the next spring for the UFL to come around. And I tell you, I think these players also saw the writing on the wall, and so they purposely came back instead of staying on an NFL practice squad or anything else like that that would have done. That they came back. USA Today had a different article where a reference to about rights lawsuit became possible after a Colorado state judge issued a temporary restraining order for all class. See, I don't see how a state judge can issue anything to injunct anything that state to state, but I'm not a lawyer. Issued a temporary restraining order for all class of 2022 athletes to gain an extra season of eligibility after being held out of the new 5-for-5 eligibility rule put in place by the NCAA for the 2026 season and beyond. That's where, like I said, there was one podcast host that said the NCAA should have just gone ahead and given everybody 5 years, regardless of years, because had they done that, they would have stopped this and avoided this situation. So, because then everybody would have gotten it. They would have made their determination about whether to go pro or not, knowing if they had another year of eligibility.
I think you need age limits on these guys.
Yeah, because we're going to 25, 26, 27-year-olds now. Look, Stetson Bennett, as much as I liked him at Georgia, was like still never even graduated with the degree, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that was like 27 or something. It's a 26. It's crazy. But see, the whole point is Lane said, like Dave said, I got to do best for my school. Lane's like, well, hey, somebody's going to get them. So why not? We're going to go do it. And but see, I think he's been quoted on both sides of the fence. He doesn't like it, but he's not going to not do anything about it because there is another article I want to get out there too. And let's see, I'm falling behind on the chat too, by the way. Small Time Republic, good to see you. I think we crossed the threshold where college and conference leaders will finally ignore some of the ridiculous local judges. I tell you, I will read the SEC statement in just a bit. Good to see you, Small Time Republic. Let's see. Chewy says, by the way, as for expectation for LSU under Lane Kiffin, first and foremost, how they weather in terms of how this offensive line fares, since it was shaky at times last season, and how Kiffin plus the coaching staff can make proper adjustments each and every game. Yeah, that's true, because Lane Kiffin has an ability to not make the adjustments and lose some games he should not have lost. Yeah, and see, here's somebody need to go back to college, but need to address the people not being able to read, write, and do math separately. Exactly. Yeah. Yep, you are not a lawyer, Dadman. Us humans like you. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that, Corey. Very good. Yeah, I don't want to be a lawyer. Although sometimes, some of us auditors are accused of playing lawyers. So I do want to see. So, JT, any other comments or thoughts? There is another article that I want to find real quick.
I think, well, see, I just want to get in the mind of Lane Kiffin here, because this seems like some kind of weird thing. Like, where did this come from? Was this his idea? Was it from someone that is meddling in the sport? It's really hard to guess, but that LSU job was fraught with influence from not just the university president, but their governor too. Mm-hmm. So was he told you must win no matter what? And then the idea was, well, we break all the rules no matter what. This kind of a thing. It's so strange. Did you get to the one about the unanimous voting to ban this practice?
And that was in the Big Ten. Hey, Jeff, how are you doing tonight? Yes, I think the article that I read did talk about the unanimous vote, which it did not say about the SEC. Good to see you, Jeff, because I was sure LSU was not in favor of what the conference. I do want to read the SEC's. Actually, I said that earlier. I keep You there, You there?
I'm here. Hmm.
My computer's decided to take thank you. See, it's taking a break, but I agree, and that's kind of like Ryan Day. Don't blame coaches for pushing the envelope on bringing anyone in. They, they can though. Job is field the best possible team. Exactly. So and I'm going to get this with Chewy real quick, but I do have another article from CBS Sports tonight. Chewy said, "When I watched LSU games last season, I did not see how ugly the Kelly mess, whether it was lack of in-game adjustments, Kelly not being someone who takes blame, but rather place the blame on others, and the Texas A&M game at home was the final straw, though people who also follow SU as well were freak pumped when Brian Kelly got fired. Well, JT Kirk supported the LSU fans, didn't you?"
Hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
exactly. But then again, that whole process was a train wreck, and I think that they're still litigating that because supposedly legislatures, the governor got involved, and people question whether the athletic director had the ability to fire him. So the last I knew, that there's a lawsuit with that about calls for call. All that, yeah. So yeah, that should be an interesting. But when somebody fires you, pretty much takes care of everything. Then, so see how that ultimately resolves. God, last year I did an article about and we need to look at that again when we have time. But the number and amounts of buyouts, that coaches are being paid for not actually coaching. It's ridiculous. And Auburn's got two of them. I know. Uh, this article though comes out. This was an article that I saw actually had some traction on social media, and one of the statements in the NCAA bylaws or the SEC bylaws about the good of the game or the good of the conference. And some people are pushing these conferences to stand up and even potentially go after some of these coaches or schools if they did this. Specifically here, uh, the article titled from CBSSports.com, How Lane Kiffin and LSU Triggered a National Showdown Over NFL to College Transfers. The byline is the Tigers aggressively recruited former NFL players to challenge NCAA rules and return to college, igniting an SEC arms race and forcing conferences to consider intervening. Basically, what challenge NCAA rules means is suing, lawsuits to get attorneys involved. The article reads, days before Ole Miss clash for Georgia in the Sugar Bowl, standout defensive lineman Xavier Harris, and see touched on this earlier, was asked about Lane Kiffin's chaotic departure from Ole Miss to LSU. "We are going to troll him," Harris said. "We got something for him. He was just trying to steal our shine. That's all he tried to do. That's all he's been trying to do." So 9 months later, Harris exited an NFL training camp, hopped in the transfer portal after a successful lawsuit in Louisiana, and joined Kiffin in Baton Rouge. It's all part of the Kiffin experience, is what it says in the article. As college football faces its latest court-manufactured crisis, some might argue the NCAA's rule implementation is to blame, but the person at the center of it, the latest controversy, is Kiffin. To be clear, LSU wasn't the first school to pursue this path of signing former professional players. Texas added fifth-year offensive lineman Cole Hudson, who had participated in NFL minicamps but was not signed to a contract, following a lawsuit in Texas. A sweeping rule in Colorado also for a time allowed the class of 2022 players to return for a fifth year of eligibility, but that did not include former professional athletes. That's where LSU got creative. The article further states Kiffin and the Tigers reached out to multiple players on NFL rosters or their representation in an effort to get them to bring a lawsuit against the NCAA and return to school, per sources. This includes some of the players who ended up in the Louisiana lawsuit, which sources have pointed out wasn't tried in Baton Rouge by accident. The Tigers have signed 3 former NFL players so far: Harris, former Ole Miss tight end Daquan Wright, and former Notre Dame edge Junior Tuihalamaka, and have had conversations with others who remain in NFL camps ahead of the league's cut day on August 30th. LSU isn't the only SEC program doing it, but the Tigers led the initial movement, which tipped over dominoes for other teams in the league. Quote, at the end of the day, though, these injunctions, they're going to play for you or play somewhere else around the country, Kiffin said. So, and he shrugs, we made the decision to recruit them like most people probably are. Wright was the first player on an active NFL roster to enter the portal, and his deal was with the Tigers was reported by ESPN's Adam Schefter in the same post about him being cut from the Cleveland Browns. Browns head coach Todd Monken caused a stir in college football last week when he said at a press conference that Kiffin, who has since claimed he doesn't know Monken, called him in the middle of camp. Quote, I wondered why Lane Kiffin reached out a week ago. Now I know, end quote, Monken said. Quote, I didn't call him back. I guess I should have, end quote. So Kiffin on Monday repeated multiple times the Tigers aren't the only team pursuing NFL players. But some schools in the SEC have decided not to add former pro players per sources. They don't want to disrupt their locker rooms or cut a walk-on who helped the team all season. See, and that's a point that I think is really important right there, JT, is what about the guys in the bullet? What about the players on that are on these rosters and have been working in training camp?
Well, I mean, what about them? I don't think any of them have signed a 4-year exclusivity contract with the school. Half of them might leave anyway at the end of the year.
Yeah, I know the way things are going, but still, it just doesn't seem right to be able to just. I mean, you put the dues in, you go there, everything else, and then just bring in the ringer from another NFL roster. Not had to do anything at the school, go through any of the drills, and then you just get to the bench. Or if you're even on the roster still at that point.
Well, these players haven't given any loyalty to the team, so then the team doesn't care about the players.
Yeah.
They're getting paid, right? This is,
well, not all of them. Some of your
the danger that
not.
you play when you want to play with all this movement around and you're not stuck into scholarships and all the rest, right? You start peeling all this back. Well, I guess the coaches and the teams figured, well, the players don't care about loyalty for us because we have to get, 12 transfers a year just to keep a roster over 50 players. And now they want to complain that someone else better than them has come in. I mean, they can go find a team somewhere else.
I know, but still, I still have a problem.
That's the life that they've made for themselves.
I know. I still have a problem with this whole process. That's what sucks with it so bad is just rewarding people coming in and like that, and others get screwed. But hey, Deepo, speaking of loyalty, good to see you, Deepo. How are you tonight? So Fallout Dave, hey Dave, how are you tonight? 15 of y'all here. Please make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't. Really trying to wrap this up, JT, and I this is indicative of the problem, JT. This thing is breaking as we talk about tonight. More will come out overnight or tomorrow, and it's like it's such a big, encompassing issue that it's hard to put it in a small little box because there's all these different angles to it. So,
well, then you try to put a flat stipend in there and say everybody gets $50K a year. Well, then you're going to have a downward pressure for students, or not really even students anymore. The players maybe did not work as hard because they don't have the incentive without an extra. I mean, this is a complicated thing that the NFL has figured out. And if you're not going to be the NFL and start getting 2, 3, 4-year contracts in, and have agents representing people and all of that, you're going to have all these problems.
Yeah. I will end it with this so that we can move on to the other things here. Hey, Tim is here. Hey, Tim, how are you doing tonight? Well, I think the players should have been paid years ago, at least minimum wage. This is going too far. Absolutely. Let's see. Let me get a couple comments, and then I'm going to end it with Lane Kiffin quote. Why not let someone who graduated from high school last year play again this year? They could make money at certain high schools. And actually, this stuff is starting to get down into the high school level. There's some reports that, especially in some of the private schools, you got to transfer. I mean, they've been transferring.
Oh, that's been going on since I played
football. But actually paying them now. it's.
Oh, there's a scandal of a high school in Metro Detroit where the coach was doing that. Getting players paid and all this stuff. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, some people say if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. We got 16 here tonight, folks. Yay. And we're going to be talking Tuesday nights, every Tuesday night, about college football. Love to have y'all and hope y'all join us all season. Chewy said, if anything, I guess there's extra reason to try and see if this whole Save College Sports Act gets passed. Then it needs to, but they did not pass it last month. For some reason, it will get another chance for a vote in September. But I don't know if this latest issue that will be addressed as a measure. JT, I know you have thoughts on that act.
Yeah, and Dadman and I talked about this earlier today, actually, and I'm rather skeptical that Save the College Sports Act is going to do anything for the benefit of the players in this. The people that have the interest on this are the NCAA, the college presidents, the athletic directors, people that may do sponsorships for teams, the athletic companies, Nike, all that kind of stuff. All of them have an interest in making money off of this endeavor, not necessarily saving the sport, but saving their profits for the sport. And I don't see a player association jumping in here at all. There's no player organization of any type really at play here. You might have a couple that are quote unquote speaking for the interests of the players, but I don't think you're going to get something targeting any type of equitable distribution. And I think it still will have loopholes and carve-outs and all the rest that you see from these type of things for certain schools that will benefit certain schools. If not explicitly, it'll be implicitly bent towards your Big Ten and SEC leaders. And I think it would be more likely to be weaponized to help secure them than it will to do anything positive for the sport. That's just me being skeptical.
Hey, I think skepticism's good. It seems to be a lot more realistic because who would have ever thought we were like we are now? I mean, I'm sitting there watching Kerwin Bell's 2-point conversion against Auburn back in the 80s on Twitter. And then also, but that's when our rosters stayed consistent from year to year. And you could watch these players and it meant something. That's what made college football so special is you grew up with these players. And now it's just, transfers were one thing. And even 10 years ago, it's starting to get crazy. But in the last 2-3 years, like when I sat down to do my analysis last year, it was like, my God, this guy's out now in Oregon and this guy's in Washington. I'm just like, what the hell? It's like all over the place. So, but let me end this call. One other thing, and we can talk about it throughout the year. One of the biggest things I've heard consistently was about collective bargaining. We got into employer law, that maybe to protect the rights of the players, you will eventually have to have collective bargaining. But then again, that opens it all up, and we've had enough legal law discussion for the night, I think. But I will say to give Kiffin some credit, let him have the final word here. It does say, with the Louisiana governor who doesn't mind inserting himself into college sports and the new university administration, which seems to have a higher risk tolerance than others around the country, LSU is not afraid to be bold. And naturally, Kiffin is at the center of it all. Quote, I wouldn't like to be my boss that hired me and then come in and say, quote, hey, here's these guys going around the country playing, making teams better. Why aren't we recruiting them? Because we may end up playing against them, Kiffin said. That's the way I'm thinking about it, and I don't think that's unique. And I do agree with that. Similar to what Ryan Day said is, well, we got to look at it. We got to do what we got to do to get better. So definitely can understand that. Mm-hmm. All right. Any last thoughts, JT?
Before I get completely disheartened and black-pilled, to take a phrase from the youths, let's talk the top 25, shall we?
Sure. Let's go for it, JT.
All right. I have it here if you'd like me to do a little share.
Yeah, bring up the share. We'll take a look at it. This is the preseason top 25.
So... Yay. Your 2026 AP Top 25 rankings.
All right.
For college foosball. Now, we have, first we want to say there's 3 teams from the Big Ten and 5 from the SEC in the top 10, so that leaves only 2 slots for everyone else. We have a dominating 1-2, Ohio State number 1, Oregon number 2, with Georgia at number 3.
And Georgia has no first place votes.
Exactly.
That
How did
stuns
they
me.
do that over Notre Dame or IU or even Miami? Right.
I'm like, they end up third. I mean, they got enough respect to end up third. Anyway, okay.
I think
That
that's
makes
merely
sense.
because they're predicted to win the conference. So
Yeah.
that means they'll now be number 3 on here.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State, I totally see it. We mentioned earlier they're returning quarterback, running back, and wide receiver, who I believe all may have been 1, 2, or 3 in the position in the entire game anyway. So that right there is solid. 8 transfers. So returning a pretty good squad. Okay. Returning a pretty darn good squad. Oregon at number 2, also returning a pretty good squad, returning most of the squad. I think what you're going to see here is this may be the year. We could talk about that later if we have time or desire to do it. I think this was the proper orientation, 1 and 2, because OSU always has their number. So if you're talking a Big Ten championship game, I think OSU puts them on top.
Right.
Georgia at number 3. Now, Dadman, what are your thoughts on this in particular? You already mentioned they didn't get a number 1 vote, but they're there.
I think Georgia. I think there's a lot of disrespect there. I mean, there's respect because they're third without the first place votes, but I think Georgia deserves a little bit more respect, and I'd slot them 2 instead of Oregon.
Okay.
Maybe not number 1 overall. I know OSU is really talented, and they proved it each year, but I still think Georgia should be a little bit higher than there.
Okay. Notre Dame, the one that deserves the disrespect. Sorry, not sorry, buddy. Notre Dame should have to be in a conference to be here, to be this high. And I'll make that even better by saying, let's go take a look at who they play. So,
good. You read my mind.
Yeah. So we're starting off here at Stanford. No, I'm sorry. They already played that. Wisconsin, who is not ranked in the top 25 at home. Rice at home. Michigan State, they're going to win by probably at least 32 points at home. Purdue, projected the bottom of the Big Ten. UNC, I don't know, but I'm not expecting greatness. Stanford at home. BYU might be their toughest game to date on this schedule.
Yeah, I'm going to have to tell Sam Wolf about that. I'm going to have to tell Sam Wolf about that one and plan to watch that with her and her family because they're big BYU fans.
Miami, Boston College, SMU, in Syracuse.
Did you skip Navy? Because who cares about Navy?
I said them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think BYU and Miami, those are the only 2 really potential blip games. Everything else, SMU out of the ACC, that's a joke. I mean,
so they're going to win probably everything, but maybe 1, and then what do you have? 4th out of that? I don't think you earn it.
By the way, Corey
said,
Miami, yes, Miami to win it all. That could be this year. Chewy though. Notre Dame's schedule does not seem as bad. No.
I just think it'll be undeserved. I think they'll mess up the bracket near the end of the season, and they'll get into one of those 12, 16 team discussions, right? And it'll be, what did they have to show for it?
Because, see, they get Miami at home. The only rough road game is at BYU. I mean, come on, Syracuse. I mean, Boston College, really. Just North Carolina, Belichick with the – anyway, that's another train wreck. Although they play Saturday, Purdue, who's look, as I'll show you, projected to be the bottom. Look at that. Purdue and Michigan State. Well, when we take a look at the projections, media projections for the Big Ten, Michigan State next to last, Purdue last in the conference. I mean,
Yes, but
and Wisconsin,
by some, but they trade those bottom
yeah,
five
right.
pretty regularly.
And Wisconsin has never been a threat to beat anybody in the last 10 years. So,
They
yeah,
have had issues.
yeah.
Yeah.
Dave, yeah, the sports betting companies, yeah, exactly. And Chewy said that, but them being that high is, I could get why there should be flack. Yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
there's no strength of schedule in there. There's no conference championship game. There's none of the other stuff that other teams have to deal with.
And
And
look at who
road.
else is up here.
Okay, go ahead.
Number 5, we have Texas, the second SEC school, right? Which still is weird for me to say, but there you have it. 6, you have IU. Now, IU lost a lot of that talent, so I think this is good enough for where they put them here.
Mm-hmm.
And they
Right.
could honestly drop quickly if the new replacements don't really lock it in. But that head coach, I think, will keep this
Signetti,
team
yeah,
very tough.
yeah.
Number 7, the first non-Big Ten SEC school minus the pretenders here,
Yeah.
Miami. Is this a pity slot here for this conference?
I think so. I think Miami. I think Miami benefits from a very weak SEC. I mean, granted that you beat who you play. They're sort of like Notre Dame, but but even then, last year Miami dropped a couple games that they should not have lost. I mean, they didn't even make the ACC championship game, and Duke won the ACC, and yet they didn't get to play in the playoffs.
Yeah.
With 4 or 5
Mhm.
losses. I mean, that's how bad. And that's the thing is, I don't see how you make the playoffs when you can't even play in your conference championship game, and a team with 4 or 5 losses wins your conference. So, but yeah, I think as a team, I could see Miami up there. I could see A&M, Mississippi, Oklahoma rounding out the top 10. So, I can see a lot of this.
So then you get out of, I guess, what you would call the 1 seed contenders, in my mind, and you go to number 8, Texas A&M, number 9, Ole Miss, number 10, Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, I mean, they could. It's going to be very tough to get through Texas and Georgia, but no, they could do it. Any favorites out of that group of 3?
Possibly Ole Miss because of the quarterback.
But again,
Chambliss is here.
who is playing with this quarterback? This is the problem. Texas A&M, Ole Miss, OU. You get started to get down this ranking. I don't care who are on these teams. I don't have enough time to be interested and follow. When I have all these other teams with all this churn, I don't know anything about.
Yeah, no, I agree. I got
squads
you.
have.
But that's the big thing for Ole Miss is they were able to get another year eligibility for Chambliss, their quarterback, who really carried their offense in the last year. So, but I mean A&M, I wait for them to melt down like they usually do. Although they had a good year last year till the very end, and they collapsed again at the end. Oklahoma, I think Oklahoma might be a bit highly overrated. They had their share of struggles last year, and
Well, they'll be 10th, and then Alabama will have 2 more losses than them, remain 13th, and get to go over them.
right,
So it doesn't, I mean,
yeah. Let me catch a couple of the comments real quick. Jeff said, got to play football. Researchers and students at Barrow, Alaska, they have a pro football field up there, one that was slowly sinking to one side of the field. Oh, man. And Corey is asking you, JT, how long has it been since Michigan State had a good football team?
well, the mug, the coffee mug that I have that says Michigan State Rose Bowl champions is a decade old.
Okay.
And I think they went to, they had one more good year after that. That was it. So it's been going on a decade.
No, that's okay. That goes. Chewy, by the way, is saying Wisconsin is one of those teams that, yes, I don't know if they will improve, but sometimes they can be slightly good. may depend on if they can get good enough play on offense and defense, but not the level of Michigan or Ohio State or even Indiana. Yeah, Wisconsin's just they need to figure out some way to score points. That's the biggest thing because this is so boring to watch. Chewy said the one I think is a bit too high is Texas A&M outside of
Yep.
Notre Dame.
Yep.
So yeah, I can agree with that. I agree, but I do think Oklahoma might be too high. So
Now, the next group here, and now that you have Chewy's chat up here, I think LSU is actually appropriately ranked.
mm-hmm.
I think they will do very well with the new coach. Well, the old, well, familiar but new coach. And I think they're going to just be a couple pieces short. If you really thought you had the best roster in the world, why are you going to get NFL players?
Yeah, I agree. Well, plus they also used the transfer portal and the NIL this year to sign 2 starting quarterbacks. I can't remember the second one, but one was the starting quarterback at Arizona State last year, Barnett, I believe. Basically, they brought in 2 starting quarterbacks, and there's supposed to be some limitation on the house settlement money, but I guess there's no limit on anything. And to bring in 2 starting quarterbacks. So they've spent a ton of money, and I you better have some success when you're doing all that. Depot mentioned that MSU went to the 14 playoffs back then. So,
yep.
Oh gosh,
lost to Alabama in that one in the final.
Yeah, Jeff said I will forever love football because old arcade game Blitz. Oh God, buddy's on you, JT. You got the Jamel Hill curse.
Yep.
But here we talked about this year, Deeple's point. None of the preseason polls should be given anything other than salt and preseason debate. And we talked about that, didn't we, last year, JT? That maybe about week 5, 6, it actually starts to, have some merit.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. It's still fun for debate and see where they slot them and all. All right. We called up. Go ahead, JT. A little bit more.
Texas Tech, Alabama, USC.
Let's see, Texas Tech also. They're seeming a bit higher because they're another team that's been pushing the envelope about bringing players and stuff, and they obviously had the quarterback earlier this year that the debate because he was at Cincinnati, transferred in. He was found. He acknowledged that he had bet on his own team even in college, and such a stink came up that they finally released him from the team, and he wanted to get an NFL supplementary draft, and NFL said, no, we're not doing a supplementary draft for you. So, see, Texas Tech, it depends on the quarterback situation, I think. And they were really hard pressed. They were going out to get him, and so it leads you to think that they were not settled about their quarterback room. Alabama, probably about right, considering they've got a new quarterback coming in. USC, they're going to somehow fall off.
I think they might actually end up here somewhere between 14 and 19. They're projected to be in the upper third of the Big Ten. And so that's about where you'll land nationally is right there.
Huh.
The problem is these big pack schools.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be a long time before they really adjust rosters, play style, etc. And maybe they never will. Maybe they'll keep their play style from that. But those pack schools had a different type of play and a different type of player. And when you play in the Big Ten, sometimes you're going to match up really well, and sometimes you'll match up horribly. But the thing that these teams like Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois, you got your Michigan State type of schools. You don't always see the highest score because these teams match up against each other a little too well because they know that Big Ten style of football. Some of this you also get, in the ACC and things like that. So when you go outside your conference, you tend to have a much more unpredictable game.
Yeah.
And this is still feeling like that.
Yeah, really good point there because I've watched a lot of Pac-10, Pac-12, Pac-10, whatever, 12, because, being an Oregon State Beaver fan, it was a different style of play, more open, pro style, whereas the Big Ten's more sluggish and slog it and the beef up there, it's a really good point, how long will it take these West Coast teams to integrate into the style of the Big Ten play? I mean, Oregon has done well, but you can still see deficiencies with the way they play when it gets to a knockdown, slug it out, old school
Ohio
football
State.
game. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, Oregon State, Oregon just, Washington also, but I
Heck,
love
I've
this.
seen
I love to see them go
Oregon,
back because I love that style play,
I,
the open West Coast style.
and I've seen Oregon come to East Lansing and lose to Michigan State with that style of play.
Yep. Yep. Oh,
It's been a while, but I've seen it. They haven't played in East Lansing much. But anyway, shall we move on?
Yep. Go ahead.
Or do you want to get Corey first?
I showed it. Corey hopes Kentucky will be lower than the bottom of the barrel and a few extra. Yeah, I cannot believe that they gave up on Mark Stoops. I mean, that guy became their winningest coach ever against the Gators, and I don't think they gave him enough resources in the sport. So you bring a new coach in. I don't like what they did for him. I think he deserved better and longer, or at least more resources. But then again, I think that it's like Florida running off Dan Mullen. I think that was a big mistake for them. But all right, JT, we'll get through these.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. The next group: BYU, Michigan, Washington, Penn State, SMU. We'll blast through this whole group.
Yeah, they should be right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think these are about right.
Mm-hmm.
I think Michigan will rise up into the Big Ten after they win their first few games.
Well, if their quarterback can actually produce, the $12 million quarterback actually.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That still sticks in my craw, what they paid him as a freshman. And to just, come on, man.
And they're saying, oh, he has no weapons. Oh, he has no weapons. And like, okay, well, you paid him $12 million, so I guess he can start crafting his own.
Yeah, it's bad investment if you spend all your money on one player. Yeah,
they'll rise like they always do. Then they'll play the real end of their schedule and drop down.
Yeah,
they have a new coach. They had a big scandal over a lot of that last year. I'll leave that for you to find in the media. I'm not going to speak out of turn on that on Dadman's channel. Let's see, Washington.
Oh boy, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
yeah. Washington, Penn State. I think they've all. Well, Penn State has a new coach too, I believe.
I am surprised Penn State's anywhere in the top 25, considering that they lost a lot of talent last year. They were horrible. I mean, after Franklin left, they kind of righted ship a little bit, but I'm surprised they're anywhere in the top 25 with how bad their roster was depleted when he left, because he took a lot of players. So,
then you have SMU, Tennessee, Utah.
That's about right. The Vol fans, I know they're really uncertain at quarterback. They were hoping to get Joey Aguilar back, but those lawsuits and stuff didn't go anywhere, and he's in the training camp with the Jaguars right now, and that's about right. That's about right. So,
there was a question.
I will get the question. Let's finish the top 25, then I'll get the question. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a couple of questions. I'll get those. We'll get those. We're going to finish the top 25, then we'll come back to those questions.
Okay. So then we've got Utah, Iowa, Houston, Louisville, and Mizzou.
Why the hell is Missouri in the top 25? Why, please? I think Florida Gators deserve it better than Missouri this year. I
had a feeling you were going to say that.
Yeah, but we'll talk about
why
it.
Why is Iowa here at 22?
Yeah, why? Can we just ban Iowa from football? Kirk Ferentz? How does that guy still have a job? Like, we take pride in scoring 10 points a game.
The reason why they weren't on this list is because Clemson has name recognition. Yeah. So they have 112, and then Florida.
Yep.
Boise State looking in, Arizona, TCU, South Carolina, Illinois. Vandy dropped off. So you do have a lot of names in here that are very familiar that did something last year.
The big problem with Vanderbilt is that Diego Pavia is not back. If Pavia had been back, or he was rumored into all these things, then I think he'd pop up in the top 25 automatically. But the one I want to screw James Madison. You deserve the piece of crap, clap, shift You got James Madison. That's where Billy frickin' Napier ended up. And now he
Yeah.
says he needs an offensive coordinator. He's learned. Jackwagon.
So, real quick,
Sorry.
just to answer Deeple's barrage here.
All right. Well, we will. We will. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So, are we any other comments on the top 25?
Oh, sure. So, look who has a vote down here.
Oh my gosh.
Go Broncos. Mac team.
Yay.
Mac team beat out Michigan State.
There you go.
With only one vote, but hey.
Hey, Western Michigan's had a history of being pretty decent and getting pretty good. So I think it's a pretty good top 25 to start with. But like we talked about this, it's just, it's early to tell except for probably the top 10. And then it'll be interesting. Let's see the top 10, though. Which one is the most likely to be, because usually they're like last year, Notre Dame lost early and fell way down and out. Which one is there anybody in the top 10 or 12 that you think could be a candidate to go get plummet out of the top 25 or fall so far in the first part of the season?
Oklahoma.
Texas.
I haven't looked at their schedule, but they normally have an early season disgrace.
Yeah.
And Iowa.
Yeah. I'm thinking maybe an Ole Miss or Texas A&M.
Okay.
Yeah. Just a couple early season losses. There goes goes the season. So, all right. Well, JT, any more on the top 25? And we're going to get caught up on these questions real quick.
I think we're good to go. I did want to talk Florida, and I did want to talk Michigan State. If you're amenable to both of those,
yes, we will. Let's get through these questions, and we will definitely get into that in what I have next coming. Okay, that works. Jeff is asking, "What's your favorite type of football play? Explain it for us who don't speak football. What type of football play do you like, JT, the best?"
Oh gosh, I would say over center or over guard in an I formation.
Ooh,
I want to see the line push. I want to see, one of your backs running straight up that hole, taking out the linebacker, and then I want to see that running back run through that opening that you've created.
Nice.
And I played guard in high school, so I loved making that hole in the defensive line and getting that opening going, and seeing one back go right in through, hit him a little low, leave enough of that room open to have that back behind him with the ball. Just run it, just run it, because once you do that, you've established control over the entire field, and as long as your quarterback can pick the right colored jersey, they're going to have enough time to throw, because they're going to be obsessed with having those linebackers stop in the run, and they know they're going to get pushed around. If it's a 3rd and 3, you're getting that first down. So if you can perfect that one play, either over center or over the guard, you've got it. Preferably to the right side.
Yep.
But it's fine either way for me on that. But I just feel like if you get that down, you've basically won the offensive battle.
Well, I'm laughing because Deeple's like you, all Big Ten style. I like the dive I formation right at the middle, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, and here the tush push. Yes.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, where is Cagle? Exactly. Oh gosh, but that's a good question. I like that, Jeff. I'm more finesse and spot. I like Steve Spurrier, run and gun. I like to spread them out 4 or 5 wides. I like at least one receiver going fly, and another's running crosses and a deep post. I love the wide open pass attack. Just a combination of different routes to do it. But I will say, in terms of a standard go-to play, the quarterback waggle, which is basically they'll fake one way, they'll roll the bootleg to the other side, which means they're running to the opposite side of the field, and the tight end or a wide receiver comes across the field streaking and they run in parallel and the quarterback hits him about 10 to 15 yards downfield. Those are some of the plays I really like. So
Okay.
yeah, more finesse. Old ball coach. Yes, Depot. Can't wait for the next scum
Oh,
scandal.
jeez. Yeah.
Yeah.
They have
And
not
yeah,
helped themselves, have they?
no, no. Yes, there's too many UMs, I believe. Yeah, I remember they got the Iowa State coach to replace Franklin. Franklin is at Virginia Tech. So that is where he is at now. Yeah, exactly. Question of the century. Ferrets, yes. Buddy asked, who did JT buy dinner to get them a vote? Western Michigan. Who'd you buy
That,
dinner for?
whoever it was, they must have really liked Taco Bell.
Well, I'll tell you, it's not cheap food anymore, thanks to the last CEO who crushed Cracker Barrel too. But so, and Buddy was a little surprised at USC at 14. Okay, all right.
Franklin from Penn State was let go last year after, my goodness, that was a quick
That was very quick.
implosion. Yeah. He's over at Virginia Tech now.
Yeah, yeah, that was such a quick implosion last year. Yeah, USC, the coach out there says he left from Oklahoma, went out to USC. He's always been on the hot seat. You kind of wonder how overrated he is at this point. And you look for USC to probably fall apart at some point. Wes Cagle was asked, went upstairs to get something to drink, not sure what the conversation. Oh, yeah, like 4 games in after that. Wasn't it after that Oregon blowout?
It might have been.
Yeah, it was. It was really, really bad. Well, JT wants to talk a little bit Florida, a little bit about Michigan State. Let me do this real quick, JT. Since you are my friend, and we will go through as many of these leagues as we have time. But let me bring this up here for you. Okay. I'm going to share this screen. We're going to start in the Big Ten, though.
Okay.
We're going to start in the Big Ten. These are the media picks, or at least where I found some have league affiliated polls, some don't. I know that the one for the SEC agrees to the SEC media poll, so conferences may or may not have them. But here's the collegefootballpoll.com here. As you can see in the Big Ten, they've got Ohio State at 540 points. This is a league affiliated poll. This is not a league affiliated poll, but released on July 27 by Cleveland.com, which took over the polling in 2011. Ohio State with 540 points, 15 first place votes. Oregon with 11 first place votes. Indiana with 5 first place votes. So you see USC in 4th, Michigan, Penn State, Washington, Iowa, Illinois, Minnesota, Nebraska, Wisconsin, UCLA, Northwestern, Maryland, Michigan State was not next to last on this one, Rutgers, and Purdue. So, JT, any thoughts about this? And please then talk about your wonderful Michigan State Spartans and what you expect.
It's a sad day when you beat Rutgers in that ranking by 2 points.
Yeah.
I would say that the 1, 2, and 3, objectively, yes. USC being 4 is a big mystery to me. I don't have them on my radar. They're just not a Big Ten team yet. In my mind, it's going to take probably 10 years for that to change if they stick around in the Big Ten for that long and we don't have another realignment or something, right? So, number 5 at Michigan, I have to really look at their schedule to see if that 5 is warranted. But you know what? 5 doesn't get you into the college playoff.
No.
5 has you sitting out. I would argue probably, 4 might get you in. But these guys all beat up on each other at a certain point. So I don't think that 1, 2, 3, and 4 can last in that order, which gives Michigan an opportunity to move up if somebody else has a bad schedule for this. Everybody below.
I remember last year you were pointing it out, and a lot of the schedules, some teams had great very easy schedules. Others had hard schedules, and it's what it comes down to who you play also.
Now, the hard part is once you fall off this top five, you are a feeder school for the top 25 teams.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're six through the end, man, all of your good players are leaving.
Yep.
Maybe not at Nebraska. Maybe not at Wisconsin. You're not going to lose too many because those names in where they recruit and how they recruit, you might keep some more. Northwestern's a small private school, so you're probably there for the education just as much as the scholarship. So you might keep people. Everyone else on that list, if you've got anyone halfway decent, they're gone the next year. Yeah. And that's just the reality of this because everybody that plays at the top of that level wants to be in the top 25. They want to be on a top 10 team. And so not even really making the top 10 in your own conference, which has a long list of losers, you're really in obscurity. And you've got to see how extreme do I need to go to get myself into that top five. Right. And remember, I don't even think it's close. I really, after number 5, I don't think it's close. You could draw a dotted line straight through it now.
Yeah, I agree. And also remember, like you said about competition and stuff, those coaches look at Ryan Day and Lane Kiffin's comments about you got to do what builds your team, and these top teams are always looking to raid the better players on these rosters at the teams lower in the conference. So it's not just the players looking, but those big dogs are looking down at those rosters to see what they can raid, and coaches too. Yeah. All right. Well, any particular hope for your Michigan State Sparty since you want to talk about Michigan State?
No, not at all. And I would like to see if I can still find where I had that in my whole list. And I had them up here just a minute ago. I feel bad.
Well, go ahead. I'm going to address a comment or two. Buddy talked about that he likes spread plays with quick slants and options more. That's a good offense. I like that too. And Deeple, I don't know if it is a dumpster fire. I like what I've heard about from the coach Sumrall this season. I'm glad we don't have Lane Kiffin after all. I still don't know. But at least he's talked like a man and somebody that wants to fight and like clap shift man that just came in like dead and lazy and all. So we'll see. I don't think it's a dumpster fire as it was, but until I watch them play some and see in-game coaching, it's hard to say. So
sure.
All right.
If you'd like to switch over,
Dadman. I would. Yeah, just talked about if they came for a non-winter state, they might be interested in leaving Northwestern after that first winter, because it's more north than Chicago. JT.
Well, it is in Chicagoland. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's bring up this image.
So this is the Michigan State Spartans football schedule. You've got Toledo and Eastern, 2 bottom 20 teams in the MAC. And so already I can't watch these games without paying for a cable package, which means nobody cares. Friday night, no one's going to watch this game. Big Ten Network, this is going to be kind of a snoozer as well.
Oh, man. Hey, I tell you what, I'm going to have that your Michigan State beats Toledo.
So that's, well, they will. They will.
You think Toledo they will, though?
They will.
Okay.
They're at home. They'll do it.
Okay.
Well, both of these teams are ranked in the bottom 20.
Well, Toledo has historically been able to play competitively with some of the Big Ten schools. And, I mean, that's a game I'd worry about because, the Rockets, we just want to nuke Toledo, but I get you. I mean, good for you for doing that. Yes, I
mean, usually when we give away something to Ohio, they have problems. Anyway.
Yeah, when you win a war and give away a city, that's
cool. Yeah.
Okay, JT, go ahead.
So we're opening up 2-0. Then you're just gonna. I mean, this is going to be kind of annoying that they even put the 7:30 time slot because I think Notre Dame's going to roll them by 28 points. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's in South Bend also. Yeah.
Nebraska's about 10 slots higher on them on that ranking that you had. They're going to lose at home to Nebraska, so they'll be a 500 team going into October. They're going to go to Wisconsin and lose. They're going to lose to Illinois. They're going to come off of 4 straight losses to losing to Northwestern. Then they're going to travel to UCLA, and they're probably going to get jobbed with an 11 p.m. start time for this game, and they're going to lose that. Then they get to take, looks like a week off here, a rest week, going into the rivalry game. I think they're going to lose by 7 on that one.
Okay.
They will beat Washington, who has probably fallen off at this point and has to travel. So that is 3 wins. This game, Oregon will beat them by 40 to help them in the college football ranking, the playoff rankings.
Hey, but at least you'll get to see it. It's on Fox
At least I
TV.
get to see it on Fox on a Friday night.
And right now, your tickets are as low as $42.
These are this is high now. And then Wes Cagle will be happy after they've lost to Oregon and have gotten majorly hurt. It'll be the end of the season. They get to travel to New Jersey and lose to the other bottom-ranked team, Rutgers, like they did a couple years ago when they played there.
I think Wes Cagle ought to make plans to attend that game for you.
He wouldn't. I won't even care because you know what? It'll be on like Fox Sports 3 or Big Ten 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
So I've got them as a 3-win football team.
Okay, 3-win football team, man. I mean, that's why I'm surprised with that Washington win. So to recap, which one? Okay, Toledo, Eastern Michigan, and then Washington.
Washington. I call that as my odd man out.
Yeah, it's hard to go.
They're ranked 17. No, I think they're going to drop.
Yeah,
and then travel poorly.
Wes says Rutgers sucks ours. Penn State all the way.
He's a smart man, that Wes Cagle.
Oh, there you go.
Right. Maybe Wes Cagle and I will maybe we'll have a bottle of an adult beverage wagered on this. Who knows? I don't know, Wes. We'll be in talks. Be in talks. Anyway, so my own team is a 3-win team. So my real team that I'm going to pick to watch and care about this year, the Oregon Ducks.
Oh, wow.
I think they got the best chance of the conference to beat Ohio State, and no one else will come even close. I think they've got a team that could be considered a magic team this year. So that's who I would pick to watch for the season if it were me.
Okay.
The next
not
here,
a bad choice. Yeah, not a bad choice. Yeah.
Well, right. Preseason number 2. Yeah, so kind of already depressing, and I've written this season off, and my sister says, I want to come up and watch a game this year. I'm like, why?
It's called it family time. Go do it because it's family time. just do it.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I tell you, there's nothing like getting out and getting the old college environment. Even if you get your ass kicked, you go in expecting it, and you never know if you might have the greatest upset known to man. So,
well, and they've lost about half their team to transfers, graduations, dropouts.
Again, to your point, you got a new coach this year. Why? You had Jonathan Smith, a former Pac-12 head coach, with his style that apparently did not go to the Big Ten. Of course, he brought Aiden Childs over, which was I never liked him even as a freshman at Oregon State. I didn't think he had the ability to throw the ball. He was just a runner, and I'm disappointed it didn't work out with Smith because when he had better quarterbacks that actually could throw the ball, he ran a more pro-style offense. He was a better coach the first time around with Oregon State than even the second time.
Sure.
That's when he had, a lot more talent. And it was more of a pro-style offense than what they had. By the way, Deeple did ask, did I hear about what's on X about Tom Brady talking about U versus C grips? No, I haven't heard anything about that. I haven't said that yet. But thank you for your comment about posting the Florida plays. That one game against Auburn, I was there for that 2-point conversion. It was a loud moment and just amazing.
Deeple,
that
I'm
happened.
tired of Tom Brady
Yeah,
talking nonsense during Lions games. So I try not to listen to him at all in the off season.
exactly.
And that's
Exactly.
not a joke.
Yeah,
So
I think a lot of people try to get Tom Brady out of their head. All right.
now on to
So,
a probably better
okay.
team. I hope a
Yeah.
better team.
All right. Well, let me we'll come back to this now that you got that up. Let me do this real quick. Let me go back over to where I was. Let me take a look. Any last thoughts on the Big Ten for you?
No, no.
Okay. Let me go through the SEC. Oh my God, the Pac-12 opted not to hold a media day event. Yeah, there was two teams. They added a few this year, but anyway. But in terms of the SEC, this the media day poll. Uh, Georgia again picked to win the conference. To win the SEC championship game, Georgia with 88 first place votes. Texas at 57. Ole Miss at 6. A&M at 5. LSU 2. Alabama 3. For all its Lane Kiffin love, LSU is not getting a lot of respect in the national polls or even in the SEC polls. And they brought in the quarterback from Arizona State to strengthen their offensive production. Oklahoma with 2, and then, of course, Tennessee at 8, 9. Florida right in the bottom half of the pack, top of the bottom half of the pack. Missouri's in the top 25, yet Florida's not. South Carolina, Auburn, Vanderbilt, Kentucky, Mississippi State, Arkansas. I'm really sad what happened to Sam Pittman at Arkansas. I really thought early on he was going to do well with Arkansas, but they lost so many 1 point in close games over the years. It just could not just sustain itself. Kentucky with 1 first place vote, new head coach this year, new quarterbacks, new talent. Could be interesting to watch Kentucky, but in terms of this, I think they pretty much have this pretty well spot on. Of the top part of the SEC that I think could have a flat, Tennessee could have a rocky year. Although it's hard to say that if they drop to 13th from 8th, it's really a disappointment. But again, I think the most likely team to disappoint could be Texas A&M once again, because they either do really well or they plummet. But last year they were on a roll. And then they just lost to Texas, and the wheels came off. But I agree with this. Georgia, Texas, I think is the top with what we got there. The surprise teams, I think Florida could actually be a surprise team this year. I really do. But of course, I did drink the Kool-Aid with Billy Napier at the beginning and all that. But I tell you, first year I said he should have been fired. First year I knew he wasn't going to fit. That's why I want to watch the game against Florida Atlantic. I want to watch this because I want to see. I can tell early on if this team's going to be good or not. Because last year against Long Island, they struggled to score whatever points. This was a school. It was a school that really had just started fielding a football team. It's one of those teams that if you're a competent university, you put 100 up on them, or you at least get 56 in the first half. Florida didn't, and it's like it was all Napier and all the offense. So
now, Dadman, one of the things I think will be interesting to hear from you is, do you draw a dotted line on which teams keep and which teams feed for the top?
Okay, say that again.
I had that line for the Big Ten drawn between teams 5 and 6.
Yeah.
Do you draw a line anywhere here? And if so, where? On which teams are keeping the talent and which teams are feeding the talent?
I think it's different in this conference. I think that really it's I'm
stumped them, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, the problem is 7, 8, 9.
Yeah,
because Florida's lost some, but they've also gotten some from others. Tennessee's lost some, but got from others. I wouldn't necessarily call Oklahoma, Tennessee, or Florida the feeders. They're almost like the feeder neutral group. They're kind of like break even.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say 1 to 6 would be the takers. Okay.
See, I agree with you.
And I think I think honestly below Florida, Missouri down to Arkansas, they're the givers and all. Just Oklahoma, Tennessee, and Florida. I think that they're so balanced. Yeah, they're losing people, but they're also gaining some people. That I really look at that as like the demilitarized zone. That there's a neutral. Whereas you said in Big Ten there's an absolute line. I think there's a neutral zone here. It's hard for me to draw it, but if I absolutely had to draw a line, I would draw it after Florida. I mean,
see,
but I really feel better about Alabama being that line.
I'm wondering if this is because, and we would really need a lot of number crunchers out there to figure this out, or maybe a finely tuned AI. I would be willing to claim that in the Big Ten you have those clear winners and everyone else, and the Big Ten will take from other conferences outside of their own. I think the loyalty here with these schools is lower, and they poach from each other far more than what the Big Ten can do.
Yeah, that's a good observation. That used to not be. They used to have rules to prevent that and transferring within the conference and all. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes they've made.
By that, I mean, folks, you're much more likely to see somebody go from Tennessee to Alabama,
well, Florida,
or LSU to Texas. You're not going to see a whole large number of players going from Michigan State to Michigan. In fact, I don't know if you get more than one a year that would do something like that.
To your point, Jack Pyburn left Florida last year for LSU, and he's now going to NFL. And other, like what we're seeing now, the guys leaving Ole Miss that are coming back from the NFL, they're staying within the conference. And I think that's where the league needs to put in there is like, sue us and we'll sue you in court. And because you gotta have some parameters. You don't stay within. If you're going to transfer, you transfer, but you go outside your conference. You don't want your league poaching from each other and your coaches. It's a bit of ethics.
Sure.
That kind of thing. But anyway, that's any surprises for me. I think a surprise team could be Florida, but really, I think a team like Auburn's going to be interesting to see with the new coach from Florida, from South Florida, and all the players he's brought over to see how they will do. So that we'll look at Florida's schedule in just a second. That game against Auburn is going to be interesting. I think I'll be honest. I think Vanderbilt's going even further down. I think Kentucky. Okay. I think Kentucky or Arkansas, Mississippi State end up going over
one of those.
I think Vanderbilt. I think Vanderbilt is back to the bottom without Diego Pavia. And
I think 11 and 12, your South Carolina, your Auburn, one of them are due for a disaster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No,
I just couldn't tell you which, but the feeling there is one of those two is going to have a disaster of a season.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I agree. In terms of the top six, though, I look at it as Alabama is the most Texas A&M is the most likely to fail. Mm-hmm. So, all right. With that being said, do you want to? I'm going to highlight because I do want to hit a couple of these other conferences just quickly when we can. But let me bring this up. Okay, hit me with it, JT.
Sure. So to open the season, you have Florida Atlantic.
Okay,
and then you have Cam. Who is Cam?
Campbell, the soup. Actually, the Campbell Camels.
Folks, I have to look this up. The Campbell Fighting Camels.
Yes, I actually saw them play my Jacksonville University in basketball one year, and they had the biggest fight I've ever seen. JU and them fought all the way from one side of the court to the other side of the court, back and forth. So,
all right. Well,
yep, they are really the Fighting Camels.
Open up the year 2-0.
Yeah. See, and like I said, like I was saying before, I really want to see because Sam had asked me about BYU because her son wants to watch it, but the BYU Utah Tech game. But this Florida, I really want to see what Florida does because I will know what kind of team this is in this first game. And then even Campbell, you think that these are just meaningless games? No, this team needs to come out and put 70 points up on Campbell. This team needs to come out and put an easy 56 up on Florida Atlantic. The offense needs to finally look functional and smooth for once. We got a transfer quarterback from Georgia Tech, Aaron Philo, and we also have Tramel Jones, who was a holdover from last year. And supposedly all these great wide receivers and one of the top running backs in the whole country, Jaden Ball. This offense needs to pop and explode and bring back the fun and gun. If it doesn't, it's going to be another long year. And I'll be honest, I think there's a lot of pressure on Summerall this year. I'm skeptical. I didn't want him hired because I obviously want a kid, and I wanted another coach from a big conference. This guy comes from the same conferences that Billy Napier did, but this guy talks different. He acts different. He carries himself different. And yeah, he likes his pedicures, but as long as he wins, we don't care. So, will Florida don't, or Florida do, or Florida don't? We'll go through the schedule and we'll finish it. So
you have a great test coming up here in week 3 at Auburn, 7 p.m. on a Saturday night, ESPN. Yep. No bloody A, B, C, or D. You're on the prime time. You're under the bright lights for this. I think it's a good test for the team. Auburn's not ranked. They're not at the very bottom, and you're going on the road under pressure. I think this is a great opportunity for Florida to get an early win and get them in the top 25 conversation easily if you win this game.
A lot of people are split on that Auburn game. I'm tending to think that Florida will win that Auburn game. Of course, that depends on how this offense performs. I'm not so worried about the defenses so much. And maybe for Florida to be back to where it should be, it's got to score points. It's got to be productive offensively. And that's been the biggest problem with Napier. So now we'll see what Summerall does. Well, supposedly they bring in the Georgia Tech, not just a quarterback, but the offensive coordinator who is highly sought around the country and produced some top. I watched them last year. They destroyed a lot of teams, FSU and others. I love the way the offensive scheme was and everything. Yeah, Wes Cagle pedicure. Yes, the Florida Gator coach. His wife actually revealed that secret. And I'm just shut up. As long as he wins. If he doesn't win, I want him fired, anyway. But yeah, you're right. Auburn, that's going to be a good game. And I'll be honest, my early thoughts before I saw what other people were saying is Florida wins that game. And I think Florida goes to 3-0.
Okay. And then you get beat up here in the next couple of weeks.
No. Florida beats Ole Miss at home.
Okay.
Florida beats Ole Miss at home. This team, I'm believing them this year. The quarterback's good. The receivers, Jaden Ball, there's Ole Miss. This Golden guy. He inherited a giveaway job. He's not going to do. I think Ole Miss is going to be overrated. If Trinidad Chambliss can be contained and stopped as their quarterback, I think Ole Miss could be one that struggles this year, possibly. Lane Kiffin always had his one or two games that he would always wet the bed, like when he played Kentucky that time. I think Florida wins this game at home. I think the more dangerous game is the game at Missouri, though.
Okay, good. Because I was going to say that you cannot convince me you're walking away with 2 wins out of those 2 games.
Well, because Missouri, Florida's always struggled at Missouri. It's just what it is and everything. Manicure, pedicure, JT. But I will say, Florida goes to actually 5-0. I'm believing in this team this year. If they beat Ole Miss, they're going to beat Missouri.
You mean 4-1?
No, 5-0.
5? Oh, okay.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid this year.
I think so, Dadman. I think so.
It's okay. I believe in it.
I also noticed that your ticket prices are 3 to 4 times higher for every single game.
Exactly.
The Michigan State games. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's some excitement this year, and with him. All right. So yeah, but I will say I do, because Florida has beaten Ole Miss in prior years when Ole Miss come in with a better team in Gainesville. And if it was in Oxford, I would say probably Ole Miss. But with it being in Gainesville, I mean, like last year Texas come in, and even Billy Napier managed to beat them. So
okay.
The home field is the key on that one, I think. And then Missouri. In Missouri, they're two more average, balanced type of teams. I think Summerall's a good coach. I've seen enough of him coaching that even though he's been at smaller leagues, I think he's going to be a good coach, and I think he'll have prepared to play on the road at Missouri.
Now the Carolina Gamecocks.
Yeah,
You think they'll win?
Yeah, Florida moves to 6-0 with this one. Florida moves 6-0 with this one. Again, it all depends on the offense. The offense is going to be the key to this team's success. The defense may struggle some, but if Summerall can actually produce a legitimate offense for the first time since Dan Mullen left, then this team, I think, will be not quite back yet, but will be definitely headed in the right direction. So
the next 2 weeks, I don't have good news for you, Dadman.
I got to tell you,
good news.
Buddy's got good news. He says every time you say Billy Napier, I think of the late night TV product guy with the beard. Yes. All right. I know you're right. Well, I'd agree. They lose at Texas, and that could be an ugly game.
That's going to be a late night game, especially if they have as many wins as you think that they will.
Mm-hmm.
I think they also lose. Then the next week, it does not get better. Hosting Georgia at home, 3:30 in the afternoon.
Actually, and that game is in Atlanta this year. It's not being played here in Jacksonville.
Neutral site. You're right.
Neutral site, and they've moved it to Atlanta because of the construction at Everbank Stadium. If this game was in Jacksonville, I was going to pick Florida to win it. I really was. I really am. I'm excited about this.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at a comment. Anyway, unfortunately, I think you dropped 2 in a row.
Yeah, I do. I do, but the head says, okay, Texas, Georgia, that's number 3, number 5. Those are not bad losses. Those are respectable losses. But I'm going to tell you now, if this team gets on a roll, if this team gets hot, watch them to knock off Georgia. I'm telling you, it's Florida Georgia is a rivalry where the darndest things can happen.
Okay.
As this team gets hot, gets some success, which has not had a long time, Georgia will wet the bed. Kirby Smart will brain fart again like he did in the SEC championship game, in the national championship games a few times with his play calling.
Now, if they don't execute against Ole Miss in Texas, I don't think they have a chance. I think they need to beat at least one of those 2 teams to show us something competitive enough for this game.
Well, I'll tell you what, honestly, I don't know that I agree with that. It depends on how they beat the other teams. See, if they struggle with Auburn, if they struggle with Missouri and look bad, yeah, you're right. But if they can go out there and beat these teams like they should, or have like in Gator Spirit have before, then they'd be okay. But we'll see.
All right. Moving, you have a bye week. Or wait, no, you don't have a bye week.
We had the bye week before Georgia,
Yeah. Then you have a game at home against Oklahoma, which I predicted was the most overrated team in the top 10 that should not have been there.
Yep. And see, I think like with Ole Miss that Florida at home can take care of that game easily.
Now you've got some cheap seats the following week at Kentucky with the new coach.
Can we finally get back to beating Kentucky and Vanderbilt every year easily?
Trap game.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. They have had our number for a long time, especially up there. So, yeah, a very big trap game. But I will definitely take Florida over Kentucky and definitely at home against Vanderbilt, because I think Vanderbilt, like I said, is going to regress significantly. Their year was last year. Okay. And just without Pavia, they're never going to get the quarterback like that before. Now, some people say they're a benefit of the NIL and transfer portals so that they might be better in the future, but Clark Lee needed to take a job elsewhere while he had a chance. So that's all I got to say with that. So,
okay. So victory over Kentucky, hopefully, trap game.
Yep.
Vandy at home, also a trap game.
Yep.
End of the season, regular season, I should say.
And I hate it being on Friday night. I hate it being on friggin' Friday.
Friday afternoon. That's not Friday night. 3:30 on a Friday. That's the day after Turkey Day, day after
College
Thanksgiving.
football needs to be played on Saturdays, not Fridays. I mean, except for the traditional Egg Bowl, Texas A&M, and those traditional day after Thanksgiving games.
Yeah.
I hate this game on a Friday, but it's because it's at an ACC school. But, dude, Florida State's going to be abysmal again this year. Mike Norvell is going to be gone, hopefully, for the FSU. Not for me, but a lot of FSU fans definitely want him gone. But Florida should win this. So I guess I got Florida at 10-2.
I'll call it optimistic. I've got them 8-4, 9-3 territory. I'll say 8.5 wins.
I've seen a lot of 9-3 and 8-4.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of that. Yeah, that's so. But then again, mine depends on probably the Ole Miss and the Oklahoma games. Those are the two that get.
Mm-hmm.
So mine could go with 10-2 to 8-4 because those are two games. But with them both being at home, I think they're games that they can pick up easily. I mean, not easily, but I think they're manageable. It's the Texas and the Georgia games, but I still even have this. The Florida Georgia series has always been full of times where the teams that should not win wins.
So you're really building a lot on. They're going to build a strong identity quick out of the gate here.
Yes, on the offensive
a lot of
side.
new pieces.
Well, they don't. They have a lot of returning stuff though. Dallas, one of their wide receivers, Vernell Brown, another receiver. They've got Jaden Ball. They got a lot returning on the offense. If the offensive line can stabilize and be consistent, they've got the pieces at wide receiver. They brought in Singleton from Auburn. They've got a number of players that really have good reputations at the wideouts. The problem is Billy Napier had good wideouts, but he wouldn't throw them the friggin' football more than 2 screens and 3 yards, clap, shift, and flat passes, You got to use your speed, spread the field, like Buddy said earlier, slants, spreads, and stuff like that. That's if you're going to have talented wide receivers, you got to use them.
I remember that kind of play worked a lot for Stat Padford at Georgia back in the day, but that was Florida, 10 years before this, right? There's more than that, closer to 20 years, right?
Exactly. Florida beat them. And hey, Sashi, how are you? So. But that's my analysis for Florida, and that's my analysis on the SEC. So, JT, I know we're going to wrap up in a moment. I know we went over 90 minutes as we usually do, but we are going to hold it no more than 2 hours. But JT, give me one moment. I want to get your thoughts on a couple of the other conferences. There are 8 games this week, but let's take a look. We got
that's SEC for you again.
Yeah,
there.
The MAC. See, the MAC for you. They got Western Michigan to win it. Miami of Ohio,
and not
second.
And Miami second, and everybody else not terribly close. I'm kind of surprised Central is as low as it is. Everyone else, no surprises there. I mean, what's the difference between the 6th MAC and the 13th MAC team? You really got to be a diehard MAC fan to get into that kind of minutia.
Massachusetts has not won a game in several years yet. That's so bad. And what the hell is Sacramento State doing? It's in California.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Because Buffalo is even an out there team for the location of all these other schools. Like Mass is as well, but Ball State, I believe, is in Ohio. Akron's Ohio. Yep. Bowling Green, Ohio.
Yep.
Kent State, Ohio.
Now, remember, Bowling Green had Smudge the cat last year, remember?
Yeah.
Or whatever, his cat, yes.
Yeah. Eastern.
Well, Eastern's
doing
up
its
pretty
thing.
high, though, yeah.
Buffalo was the only New York team there.
Yep.
Central in Michigan, Ohio in Ohio, Toledo in Ohio, Miami of Ohio. So more than half this conference is in Ohio. But I would definitely, Western would be the one to pick.
Yeah, and they're selected as a favorite in the MAC preseason coaches poll, MAC title game, Western Michigan and Miami. So
there's usually a reason for that. Either it's the team is just stacked and it's obvious by just the size and speed of the players, and or the coach is looking to get promoted. And so you just know that team is ripe to get poached for the following year. And there you have it, right?
Yep. Well, let's take a look at the ACC real quick. Miami won. Oh, SMU at second. God, I can hardly believe SMU and Louisville up there above teams like Florida State, Clemson. And look, Georgia Tech's supposed to be good again this year. Even they've got to replace
But
their
how
quarterback.
good
So,
how good are we talking here?
well, that good is relative for
Look at
sure.
how low three of those Notre Dame opponents are. Four of them.
Yeah, Boston
Dadman, I'm
College.
trying not to shout here because people are sleeping in the house. Notre Dame is playing the bottom four teams in the ACC this year.
Chewy, if you're still here, there's one more ammo for your thing about Notre Dame. It's like, but you got to play who you got to play, though. That's the thing. Well, anyway, but I tell you, look at FSU. That's beautiful. 3 first place votes. What drugs were they taking? I mean, anyway,
They were in the poll.
They don't even have a quarterback this year. Yeah,
but you say they're 10-2. So
no, Florida State.
Oh, Florida State. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Florida
my
State,
mistake.
yeah.
My mistake.
I know. But see, where does it fall? See, Franklin and Virginia Tech bringing some Penn State players. I think that they could be actually higher than middle of the pack.
I think Cal might surprise you a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, look, they'll go from 12th up to 6th.
Yeah.
But that still doesn't put you in the college football playoff. See, with this conference,
Yeah.
You have what, 2, maybe 3 teams that are going to be able to even hold on to their talent. I'm not talking about like recruiting from other people. I'm talking these top 3 teams are the only 3 schools that I think have any chance at retaining more than half their team for the next year without Big Ten or SEC poaching all of them.
I don't even agree with that. I think SMU and Louisville could lose players. I mean, Clemson only because of name recognition and history and that fact they could be second or first again this year. But like SMU, Louisville, who wants to play at school if you can get Miami? Duke won the ACC title last year in the conference championship game. They're 10th this year. What happened? Their quarterback, even though he was under contract, got pillaged by Miami. So, even if you're successful up here, you're still going to lose your players to Miami or some other more powerful team out of another conference.
And I think this is why the quote unquote Power 5 is dead. Yeah. Because we went to arguably the 3rd strongest.
Yeah.
If not the 4th.
This would be the 4th strongest.
Discussion another day.
Yeah, this would be the 4th strongest because I will show the Big 12 real quick in just a second. I would say the Big 12 is the 3rd.
And it did, man. You could absorb the top 2 teams into into the SEC or Big 10 and flush the rest of this conference.
Yeah. Give me Clemson and Georgia Tech for the SEC and flush the rest. I'll be honest. I would like Florida. See, I would like Miami. Miami might as well join the SEC along with Clemson or Florida State. I think I'll be honest. Miami, Florida State, Clemson, and Georgia Tech should be in the SEC, and the rest can go everywhere else.
Well, the Big Ten really wants a Florida school.
Yeah.
So Miami will go to the Big Ten, and then Louisville, it'll be another kind of Midwest kind of a school. And those 2 can go to the Big Ten, and Clemson, Georgia Tech will go to the SEC.
Just do me one favor, JT.
SMU will sit out.
Please, just do me one favor. Please call it something other than the Big Ten. I can't get the numbers right. And who the hell? What? This is a son of a gun with drugs. Stanford. He took too much pot out there, or smoked too much of that tree out there. They got 1 first place vote for the ACC championship. Wow. You see that, JT?
That's why I'm saying in 10 years, I really don't see this being a thing. Like you're going to end up maybe with some European League thing where, the top 20 teams all move up into your top conference, and then you lose your bottom 2 and gain the top 2 from the other. And you're going to have these mid-tier teams
Yep.
off of that. It's just otherwise you're going to keep poaching until there's nothing left.
Right. By the way, Corey says Louisville for last. He doesn't like his Kentucky brethren very much. Well, oh god, that was good. That was a good pizza payoff, y'all. If JT can do it, so can I. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get ready to end this really quick in a few minutes. I appreciate you staying with me, JT. We did spend, I'm sorry, I got wound up on that. That big story at the beginning was just a lot, but there's so much involved to it. But in the Big 12, the power conferences we're looking at, and we'll talk about more of these other conferences. And we're going to take a look at games around the country all year this year. Texas Tech and BYU had come down to these two teams again, separated by 15 points in the votes, 12 first place votes. Which tells me a lot of Arizona and Houston got a lot of love from their voters. But, of course, I was talk also about Deion Sanders. I've seen one podcast. Deion's on a hot seat and should, big year that he actually do something. He hit with a splash 2 years ago, and now last year struggled, and he still got, predicted at the bottom of the conference. And any thoughts in here? Our friend Whoopa Troopa Baylor is right in the middle at 88. DJ Lagway, the former Gator quarterback, ended up there. But I don't see any. I mean, Arizona State lost a quarterback to LSU. I mean, really, I don't see anything.
No, top five are the only ones of interest. And even then, Texas Tech might be able to keep their own players, and maybe BYU because of the religious reasons. They'll probably keep more players than they otherwise would. Everyone else is just going to.
Honestly, to me, this is a two-team league. I mean, it's like it's Texas Tech and BYU. The others, no. Just now, I know Chewy has.
I know the Big Ten is very predatory on Utah.
Yeah. That would be kind of interesting if Utah ends up in the Big Ten at some point, considering Winningham went to Michigan. So, of course, there's a lot of drama and stories about why he left Utah. I didn't think it was ever going to leave Utah, but it sounded like it was not
the third strongest conference.
It's the third, I think.
All you do when you look at these Big Ten SEC recruitment lists on the transfer portal is nothing but teams from those top 5-6 schools. The players from those top 5-6 schools getting poached. And so if you're one of those schools, who's even left when you kick the ball off?
Yeah, it's not many. Not many at all. And I think that's really with it there's, oh my God, in the Sun Belt, they got James Madison to win the Eastern Division, coached by a clap shift guy. I hope to hell. That's one team I wanted to see just go in the toilet. I've always loved James Madison, the story. I didn't mind that they got in the playoffs last year, but they can burn in Hades for that SOB, and he deserves no success anywhere anymore. So on that note, real quick, let's take a look at the 8 games this Saturday. Like Chewy said earlier, it starts with North Carolina and TCU. In Ireland last year, that was a couple years ago. FSU got beat in that game in Ireland, but last year I can't remember who played, but it was a really entertaining game. Mm-hmm. But this should be fun. Catch that. It'll be 5:00 over in that area, and of course noon. Like I said, these games pretty much end early in the afternoon because of San Jose State, USC at 3 on NBC. God, they're desperate. But hey, Buddy Hepburn, go San Jose State, go Spartans.
Is there week 0?
This is week 0, yes.
You're showing week 1, but I thought we had a Friday roster.
This is a week 0. This is a week 0 on Saturday.
Okay.
Next week, games are on Thursday and Friday next week. But this week, games start on Saturday. Go Spartans, beat the Trojans. Of course, see, this is what gets me. First game of the year, you got a conference game between NC State and Virginia. I don't know that I like that because
$25 tickets. I mean,
how would you like the first game of the year to be a conference game? So everything's on the line right at the bat. I mean, you don't get a cupcake to warm up to, but so that could be interesting to see that game. Jacksonville State, North Dakota State, Sacramento State, Eastern Michigan. Oh, that's a MAC game also. And
Mhm.
Ypsilanti, Michigan. Is that the UP?
Ypsilanti is
Yeah.
the other town with a major land grant university next to Western Washtenaw Tech
Ah,
Wolverines. Yeah.
all right. There you
Yeah. They're
go.
actually directly the city's border.
And you visited the campus of Eastern Michigan this last year
I
for
did.
basketball. Yes,
I did. I
that
saw
was
Miami of Ohio go all the way and get to the big dance and then choke.
yep. And Hawaii is at Stanford. Buddy Hepburn, your football season starts. Tickets is $14. But hey, go enjoy and good luck. I don't know. I
Is that because the
always
stadium's just that big?
I, probably because they have been so down for so long. I mean, Stanford that's another program that's fallen off. They've had some good
Mm-hmm.
success, but then last few years, Hawaii, you never know. Hawaii is like,
You gotta feel like it's the stadium size as well.
yeah. Well, speaking of stadium size that will be half empty, New Mexico State plays in Tallahassee at Doak Campbell Stadium. Florida State, let's hope for New Mexico State to beat them. Relegated to the CW network. There you go. The ACC team relegated to the CW. That's not even Oregon State in the Pac-2. Gosh. And then, of course, at 10 o'clock, UNLV and Memphis. My coach, Dan Mullen, is still at UNLV. I still wish Florida had not fired him. Just more patience. And that's another story. I talked about how the administration turned on him because of that illness. And he was frustrated with the competitive balance and not standing
Mm-hmm.
up for the, what other schools cheating and doing stuff during that time. But of course, that's at 10 o'clock on Fox. So your college football action begins this week, starting at 12 noon Eastern time. JT, any last thoughts before we end the stream?
Well, I hope I am proven wrong with my predictions for both our teams. And they do better than I predicted.
All right. I will agree with you, sir. We shall see what shall happen. We will keep up with the latest and breaking news during the week and meet next Tuesday. We'll talk about, and actually we may take some look at some of the other conferences we may not have had time to squeeze in and other headlines and take a look in behind some of the numbers of these games that happened this week. On that note, everybody, don't forget to join us. Well, JT, what have you got coming up this week?
Thursday, I'll be on the Great Admiral Teague's channel at 10 p.m. covering some of the worst TV ever made, Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
Oh, I thought it was just.
We're coming off the
Discovery.
Puppet episode, which don't know how you could do any worse than that, but life finds a way.
A puppet episode?
Yeah. It was.
This
really
is
good
after the
puppet
singing
episode.
Klingons last year, right?
Yes. Yeah. Though every week tries to be the worst week ever made. We've already had dinosaurs in the fake Enterprise going back in time, creating the conditions for the big one to hit and wipe out the dinosaurs, thus creating. Well, anyway, it's a stupid. It's bad television, but we would love to commiserate with y'all over there Thursday, Admiral Teague, 10 p.m.
Okay, all right, and you can find JT there for set. Then JT, you can never stop. You can never top Star Trek CW. I mean Academy or whatever. Yeah. All right. Well, look, folks, join. There could be random streams this week. I don't know. Life it just depends from one night to night. Maybe there'll be something Thursday night. Not sure. Maybe fortnight. Of course, I misses every weekday, 10 a.m. for your daily dose of positivity. Catch her there. I know she will do gaming on Thursday at 5. So join her for that. And join us on Saturday night for the Dadman and Friends on Saturday night. This Saturday night will be the last Saturday night show for a bit because as we enter college football season, I'm planning on back maybe 1 or 2 streams on Saturday nights a month because I really want to enjoy college football as the time comes. And it's from noon Eastern all the way about 2 a.m. On the West Coast. So
and we still have, 3 weeks left until the NFL starts.
Yep. Starts the week after. So, and next week, we will be out of town. So after that, so let's see, yeah, it's next week, not the Saturday of the next week. Okay, but hey, JT, thank you again for a great stream.
Thank you, sir.
Everybody out there, take care, and we will see you Saturday night, 9 p.m. Unless we see you sooner. Bye, everybody.